Hello everyone, I just bought a new 2DS XL in late 2021, but why? Let's take a closer look at it. Now before we talk about this specific console, here's a little backstory on the 3DS series as a whole. The original 3DS launched in 2011 as a successor to the original DS, featuring a unique 3D screen and improved hardware to play more demanding games. While it had a rocky start, it turned out to be very successful, and during its lifetime it spawned 6 different models. The original 3DS, the 3DS XL with a larger screen, the 2DS with a different design that made it more child-friendly, the new 3DS, new 3DS XL, and the final revision, the new 2DS XL, which we will be focusing on today. The new 3DS series featured better hardware and the implementation of the C-Stick, which can be described as a tiny analog stick alternative. The 2DS models play the same games as all the other models but lack the 3D screen, which ultimately made them cheaper as well. As I said before, the new 2DS XL was the last 3DS model to be released before Nintendo ultimately discontinued the system in 2020 due to the huge success of the Nintendo Switch. Oddly enough, the new 2DS XL came out in 2017, a few months after the Nintendo Switch, probably as a last-ditch effort of the company to keep the 3DS alive for a little longer. Now that the system is officially discontinued, prices start to slowly increase on the internet. Systems in their original packaging have become collectibles, and even used models are getting more and more expensive, which is why I decided to buy one now, before the prices increase even further. The model that I got is a new 2DS XL in orange and white. I put it in a clear hard case to protect it from scratches and installed a screen protector on the bottom screen to prevent damage caused by the stylus. I highly recommend you do the same because these consoles are infamous for getting scratched up easily. I picked up the new 2DS XL because I didn't really care much for the 3D feature and because of its unique design. It uses a matte instead of a glossy finish that is surprisingly durable, and the system comes in a smaller form factor than other XL models while keeping the same screen size, almost 4.9 inches on top and 4.2 inches on the bottom screen. This ultimately reduces the bezels on the system and gives it a nice clean look. The microSD card and cartridge slots are right next to each other and are protected by a cover, unlike on other 3DS models, which is a nice addition that will definitely help the console's longevity. However, it is far from perfect. The hinge mechanism is pretty loose, causing the screen to wobble. I've been told this was made on purpose to reduce the strain on the hinge and preventing it from cracking, though I didn't find any official statement about this. Regardless of intentional or not, it feels pretty cheap. Also, for some reason the speakers have been moved to the bottom of the system, so while you're playing you will likely muffle them with your hands. The stylus that comes with the system is the smallest of any DS and uncomfortable to use, though you can buy a telescopic stylus to completely get rid of the issue. Thankfully, the rest of the system is well built, especially the buttons are sturdy and responsive. The circle pad on the left and the C-stick on the right are essentially replacing the 2 analog sticks you would find on a controller, and while they certainly look a bit weird, they work surprisingly well in games such as Monster Hunter 4 Ultimate. Now, why would I need a 3DS in 2021? Mostly for the games really. The 3DS has one of the most impressive libraries of any handheld, featuring a lot of iconic first-party titles from Nintendo, and on top of that, it runs original DS games as well, giving you a truly enormous library to choose from. We are talking about way over a decade's worth of games of all imaginable genres. I personally got one to play Metroid Samus Returns, so I can warm up before Metroid Dread releases on Switch this coming October. Another reason why you might want to pick up a 3DS model is homebrewing. Now that Nintendo practically abandoned it, installing custom firmware onto a 3DS has become easier than ever and allows you, for example, to run emulators from SNES to Sega Mega Drive, even up to N64 and PlayStation 1 games. And then there's of course ROMs, which allow games to be played without having the original cartridge. Of course I would never condone this, but for education's sake it's important to point out that it is in fact possible. The 3DS series revolutionized handheld gaming, and the iconic clamshell design is instantly recognizable wherever you go. But it's safe to assume that we won't be seeing anything like it ever again. Handheld gaming is going in a different direction nowadays, with more powerful hardware that allows handhelds to play the same games you would get on PC or home consoles. Now while it's amazing to see demanding games such as The Witcher 3 on a small handheld device, a system such as the 3DS can't be surpassed by better hardware. It is unique both in design and functionality. The dual screens, the stylus, it's an experience you can't really emulate. Which is why the 3DS will be relevant in one way or another now and in the future. In summary, the new 2DS XL is probably among the best 3DS models, and you should definitely pick one up if you get the chance. The system is home to a massive library of games, and if you take the extra step to install custom firmware, the 3DS can turn into a fantastic emulation device as well. So if you consider buying one, or one of the other models, now would be the time to do so. That's it on my part, but what do you think about the 3DS and what's your favorite model? Please share your thoughts in the comments below. Thank you very much for watching, and of course, have a wonderful day.